The 8 News Now investigators on the case of the man called the Black Widower.
A judge today sentencing Thomas Randolph to no less than 60 years in prison for planning the murder of his wife and killing the man he hired to do it.
Investigator Kyle Payne is the only local reporter to cover this trial from start to finish. And Kyle, boy, this is a bizarre one.
Brian, Denise, yes, and the prosecutor hinted at that today during his argument to keep Thomas Randolph in prison for the rest of his life, telling me Randolph was motivated by greed and more premeditation went into this murder than most of the ones he sees.
All of a sudden, God gives me Sharon, and we was just so compatible that it was wonderful. And like I said, the only problem in the marriage.
Prosecutors would say the problem with Thomas Randolph's marriage to Sharon Randolph was that he wanted her dead, almost from the time he met her, having taken out a life insurance policy on her and hatching the plan to have her killed.
I didn't kill Sharon. Have nothing to do with this.
Going to allow the defense to say it?
But Judge Tierra Jones, who sat through what was actually Randolph's second trial for his wife's murder, wasn't buying what Randolph was selling. In court Thursday, despite Randolph,
she went to Woodstock. I mean, for a rock and roll guy like me.
Rambling for 15 minutes.
You can tell by her look it's going to be, we're going to have great sex tonight to make up for this.
Until it was time to hear his fate.
That was an aggregate sentence of 720 months to life. Thank you.
And while Randolph may not be thankful for that sentence, the victim's friends certainly are.
This man is a monster, and I don't mind saying it. I hope he suffers every day.
Deidre Marley watched the entire trial, but had trouble watching Randolph try and talk his way out of life in prison on Thursday.
I was very disgusted by it because he was lying through his teeth.
But Randolph's story didn't get past 2 Clark County juries, or one of the people who prosecuted Randolph in 2023.
It's kind of typical Thomas Randolph.
He's full of it.
He's never going to take responsibility. It's always going to be someone else's fault. And so that's really what you saw today.
Randolph was convicted of this crime once already, but the Supreme Court said the jury heard evidence it shouldn't have. So they retried him last year. He lost. He plans to appeal, Denise.
Well, Thomas Randolph will be back in court, in fact, in just a couple of weeks in the middle of April to get new lawyers who will handle that appeal. Those lawyers, like the ones who represented him at trial, are paid for with taxpayer money.